Hey, it's Joe Amoia, founder and creator of GPSforlove.com. Today, I'd like to talk about a subject that I hear about all the time. It's, Joe, what do you think about long distance relationships? Can they really work? Well, I believe any relationship can work. In fact, I've got a family member who met her husband in Australia, which is literally on the other end of the world from where we are here in New Jersey. I've had a good friend of mine who met his wife. He was in Connecticut. She was in Florida. So I have a friend who's from Jersey and met his wife in DC. So I strongly believe that any relationships can work when both people work at it and both people do what they need to do to make that relationship work. But let me say, I think long distance relationships just make things much more complicated. Now, again, if you're in a long distance relationship, don't say, "Oh shit, Joe, what do you mean?" I'm not saying your relationship can't work. I just say that it complicates things more. And that's from my own personal experience. When I was in Georgia, when I was in school, I was in a relationship with a girl. And I told her, look, come graduation day, I'm out of here. So if this relationship is going to go anywhere, ultimately you would need to move. And I was completely upfront and transparent from the beginning because that's how I am. And she's like, oh, great, and everything. And we dated for about 9 months. We came up for the holidays, and she got to meet my family and friends, and and see that my life was here. And as soon as we got back, things changed, because in her world, she thought I was going to fall in love with her, that I was going to change, I was going to love it down there, and that I was going to stay. And so that was the first time. The second time I dated a girl, she was in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, which is about 2.5 hours from here, and told her from the beginning, and she was like, okay. She was in the radio industry, and she's like, oh, I could work in New York, blah, blah, blah. And ultimately, she didn't want to leave. So I wasted another 9 months. And again, I don't waste, because you learn from every relationship. But what I learned from that experience is that, you know what? This is where my life is. This is where my family is. This is where I want to be the rest of my life. So I can't go anywhere. And I literally said to myself, if I have to pay a bridge or pay a toll, which is what we do here in New Jersey, we pay bridges and tolls everywhere we go, then you know what? I ain't going. And so the interesting thing is when I got that crystal clear and I stuck to my boundaries, I met my wife, who literally lived 9 miles from my house. So when you get clear on what you will and will not take, what your boundaries are, it's amazing how life just shows up for you. And so, if you're at the stage where, you can move, you can change your career, you work from home, or, you're financially free, then you know what? Consider a long distance relationship. Just know that there are inherent problems with that. And you want to get those problems and questions addressed in the very beginning. Now, from my experience, just let me tell you, just because somebody says in the beginning, oh yes, I'll move, I'll leave, then you know what? You've really got to say, okay, will you really? Because what you want to do is you want to observe a person's life. Are they strongly entrenched with their friends, with their family members? Are they really going to uproot their life to move? That's a question only each person can answer. So that's why I'm personally not a big fan of long distance relationships. Plus, let's be honest, we all have needs. And I'm not just talking about sexual needs. We all have needs for connection. We have needs for excitement, variety. And it's much more difficult to get those needs met when you're in a long distance relationship. Again, not saying it can't work, but just much more difficult. And lastly, the purpose of GPS for Love is learning how to date smarter, learning how to figure out quickly if this is the kind of guy that you want to invest in a relationship with. And quite honestly, it's much more difficult to do that when somebody is in a different place or on the other side of the planet. So again, not saying it can't be done, but just want to give you the information that helps you make better, smarter choices that work for you. Because ultimately it comes down to, what do you want? What's going to work for you? Don't listen to what I say. Don't listen to what your friends say. Don't listen to what your parents say, your neighbors. It's what you know to be your truth. Because the bottom line, are you getting what you're looking for? And if you are, then beautiful. If not, then you need to take that good look in the mirror, take some mirror time and say, you know what, I need to make a better choice and decision. And I promise you, if you do that, some really cool things will happen. So I want to hear from you. What do you think about long distance relationships? Have you ever been in a long distance relationship? If you had, would you consider one again? If you haven't, would you consider one? It's all about what's going on in your world and how this forum can help you create the results you desire and you deserve. As always, it's an honor and privilege. We'll see you next time. Much love.